What up, guys? So today we got a question from Chris, who is a 46-year-old purple belt who's having panic attacks when he trains. So he says that he's seen several videos, including mine, where, we talk about this idea of freaking out and having panic attacks in bad positions, like mount, back mount, that sort of thing. And it's always geared towards the newbies, the white belts and the beginners. But he's a purple belt and he's still having this problem. And so he sent me this message. It's a pretty long message, and we went back and forth, where he's talking about having these panic attacks when he's in bad situations. And he says that what tends to happen is he'll, have this scramble or whatever. Someone will end up in mount or side control where they have this pressure on his chest. He feels this, his breathing begins to accelerate. He feels his heart thumping, and it seems to trigger this panic attack. Now, if you guys have ever experienced a panic attack, you know that it is because I've dealt with them since I was in my early 20s. It's like this weird thing where your body just sort of takes over and freaks out, and you can't explain it. Doesn't make any sense, and you might even know that it doesn't make sense at the time, but it still happens. So he has this issue with panic, and he's wondering if I have any tips over how to get over it. And so again, it's being triggered by this accelerated breathing, his heart, everything else is happening along with being in these bad positions. So brother, I think I might have a suggestion for you. So I'll kind of give you some context as to where I'm going with this. Back in 2023, I had a situation where I don't know what the heck was going on. I don't know if anybody else had these issues with COVID, but I remember after COVID, I would have this issue where I would feel this dull ache in the back of my right shoulder that would start, let's say, on Sunday. By Tuesday, the pain would be spread out in my chest, and it basically had pleurisy-like symptoms where if I took a deep breath, I would just feel this inflammation in my chest. It was like I had a crazy chest day workout, but instead of feeling it in my pecs, I felt it in my lungs. And then by Friday, everything would just sort of work its way back and recede. By Friday, pretty much everything would be gone, and I would be kind of back to normal. But it was this weird thing that would happen like clockwork every 3 to 4 months. I could not explain it. I remember it started after COVID and it lasted for like a year-ish or whatever. My doctors didn't know what the heck was going on. But I remember I eventually had that along with some heart palpitations one day, and I'm like, I'm just going to go to the doctor. They can figure out what the heck's going on, do some imaging, stuff like that. It is what it is. I go in, I say palpitations, chest pain. They're immediately running me through, and they're like, oh, what's wrong with this heart, whatever. And they did all these random tests, and they eventually did things like echocardiograms. They did CT scans, the whole deal. All of that to tell me that I had this good looking heart, right? Everything looks great. Blood works good. I remember the woman when I was doing my echo, I was super nervous because I'm having these weird palpitations. I'm having this chest pain, and the doctor seemed freaked out about it. So I'm kind of worried about it. And she's looking at my heart and she says, listen, the doctor has to do the actual, reading of this thing. But I'm looking at it, and you have a textbook heart. It's the heart that we look at in textbooks that we never get to see here because most of the people that get these tests done are not in the best shape. But your heart looks amazing. So I hope everything goes well. Well, after all these different tests, and getting over this kind of the worry, I was like, okay, my body's fine, right? And so I wanted to get back to training, but I was in this same boat where every time, bro, I would start to feel my heart rate race up a little bit. I'd kind of get spooked. Now, again, I'm a black belt. I've been training for a long time. I've been doing this stuff for longer than I have not been at this point in my life, right? I've been doing it for my entire adult life, and I'm getting spooked by it. So again, don't feel bad if you're a purple belt and maybe you're having some struggles. Again, these struggles come and go, and we all have our own baggage, and you got to deal with it over and over again. So with that, I was like, all right, here's what I'm going to do. So first thing I did is I got on the stationary bike. I had my heart rate monitor on, and I started doing sprint intervals, right? I got my heart rate up as high as I could get it on that damn bike, and I would sit there and look at the heart rate monitor and just look at the number. It's just red, and my heart rate's going, my breathing heavy, everything else. And I would just breathe, and I would watch it slowly drop back down. And then I would sprint really hard. I did this again and again for a particular session. I just wanted to push my heart as much as I could. I did this because I wanted to be because again, mentally I know I'm okay, right? But physically I need to feel that I'm okay. I need to have that embodied in myself, right? So I got my heart rate up, watched the number goes down, and saw that everything's fine. Heart rate's good, it gets back down, heart's fine, the doctor said it was fine, and look, I'm doing this right now, everything's okay. And then I went back to the gym, or to the rolling side of our gym, and pushed it during the rolls, had my heart rate monitor on. Again, these are different days, by the way. Watched my heart rate shoot up during some hard scrambles and handle it with no problem whatsoever. And then it's like, okay, we're back to normal. And I would tell you that that could be a way to address the problem, is to prove to yourself that your body can handle this exhaustion that you're feeling, right? Also too, if you struggle with panic in bad spots, then you need to go to those spots all the time, right? Because the best antidote to the anxiety that you have is action, is doing something, right? And if you're going to cure the anxiety, you have to have confidence in yourself that you can deal with this stuff. And so what I would tell you to do, this is my suggestion, is go to the gym, and when you roll with someone during like open mat sessions and where you're just rolling full live, whatever, just lay down and let them pass you so you can get put in the bottom of mount, bottom of side control, and just defend. Don't even try to escape. Just see how long you can stop them from doing submissions. Why would I tell you to do that? Well, what is that going to do to you? If you can realize that if you pull your frames in and you stay nice and tight and you don't make any crazy, exposures of your arms or whatever, or leave your neck wide open, if you pull everything in nice and tight and work on your defense, that you can survive for a long time and that you can maintain a reasonable heart rate and you can catch your breath and everything else, well, that's very useful then, right? Because then what happens is when you go to do a regular round and all of a sudden someone scrambles around and they get you in mount or back mount or whatever, and you're breathing heavy and you're starting to feel that panic, you can know that, oh, well, I know my heart rate and everything else can handle this. No big deal. And then you know that, oh, I know that if I bring everything else in tight, really tight, that it's really hard to submit me, and I can defend myself pretty effectively from this position, so I don't need to panic. So you don't need to panic from a technical standpoint or a physical standpoint with your body. And the last tip that I would tell you is that be mindful of your breathing. Like you said in your message, you feel this accelerated breathing and it seems to trigger the panic attack, right? So what you can do is you can be very conscious about how you're breathing when that happens. So my suggestion to you, and this is what I do, there's actually videos of me where I'm rolling, doing this sometimes, where I sound like a damn freight train. I will take 2 breaths in, 2 breaths, like a solid breath out. So, and it helps bring me down a little bit. One of my students one time was watching my heart rate monitor. I was in a bad spot. Someone had got me into I can't remember, a side control or mount, but I was in a bad spot. My heart rate was really high. Started doing that breathing, and all of a sudden you're seeing the heart rate monitor drop. You're seeing my heart rate plummet down because I'm getting myself back. And so those would be 3 suggestions to you from what I read in the message. Again, there could be some of the stuff that I'm missing, but I think that would be kind of where I would direct you. And some of the stuff that I've done when I've had weird panic attack-like symptoms or anything like that associated with my training. So hopefully that's useful to you, Chris, and anybody else having a similar problem. And I'll talk to you guys next time.